All right, let's talk about something we've all felt. You're in the gym, you're training hard week after week, you're eating right, but your progress just slams on the brakes. You've hit that wall, that dreaded plateau. The weights just aren't going up anymore.
So you're at a fork in the road. What do? Do you grind it out, fighting for every single extra pound on the bar? Or do you take the other path and just start adding more and more sets, chasing that pump until you can't move? It feels like you have to pick a side, right?
You know, this is probably the biggest debate in the entire fitness world. You've got passionate people on both sides swearing their way is the only way. Well, today we are going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to settle this thing once and for all, and we're going to do it with cold, hard science. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to redefine a principle you think you know. Then, we'll dive into the power of training volume. After that, we'll deliver the final verdict in the load versus volume showdown. And we won't leave you hanging. We'll give you a smart, actionable playbook and then wrap it all up. Sound good? Let's do this.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the absolute foundation of building muscle. Progressive overload. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, add more weight. But what if I told you that's only a tiny piece of a much bigger puzzle?
So the definition is simple, right? To grow, you've got to challenge your muscles with more stress than they're used to. Your body is an incredible adaptation machine, but it's also kind of lazy. It won't change unless you give it a very, very good reason to. The real question is, what counts as a good reason?
And this is where it gets really cool. Think of progressive overload like a giant umbrella. Lifting heavier, increasing the load, is just one thing you can do underneath it. You could also increase your volume by doing more sets or reps. You could increase frequency, hitting a muscle group more often. You can even up the density by cutting your rest times, or just get better at your technique and range of motion. All of these force your body to adapt.
So, if slapping more plates on the bar isn't the only game in town, what about its biggest rival, volume? I mean, there is a mountain of research out there that basically crowns volume as the king of muscle growth. But does that mean more is always better? Well, the science is actually pretty darn clear on this. Study after study shows what we call a dose-response relationship. Just think of it like medicine. The bigger the dose of training volume you take, the bigger the response you get in muscle growth. Well, up to a certain point anyway.
And check this out, because the numbers don't lie. When scientists pooled together all the data, this is what they found. The low-volume folks, doing less than 5 sets per muscle a week, they saw about 5.4% growth. The medium group, doing 5 to 9 sets, got a little more. But look at that jump. The high-volume group, doing 10 or more sets, saw almost 10% growth.
Yeah, 9.8%. That is a huge difference. This right here, this data, is the reason you hear so many top coaches and athletes going on and on about getting enough weekly sets in. The evidence is pretty overwhelming that if you want to maximize size, volume is a serious tool in your arsenal. But, and this is a huge but, it's not just about mindlessly doing more sets. The secret ingredient here is effective hard sets. We're talking about sets taken close to failure, where you only have maybe 0 to 3 good reps left in the tank. A lazy, half-hearted set just doesn't send the same muscle-building signal. It's the quality and the effort that really moves the needle. Okay, so we've got increasing weight on one side and increasing volume on the other. Both are valid. So who wins? Well, spoiler alert, this was never a fight to begin with. The real answer is that it's a partnership. To get why they're partners, you gotta understand 2 main ways we trigger growth. First, you've got mechanical tension. That's the force created by lifting heavy stuff. This is the main signal, the absolute star player of the team. But then you have metabolic stress. That's that burn you feel from the buildup of stuff inside the muscle when you do more sets. Think of it as the team's secret weapon. For the best results, you really need both. And folks, this slide right here, this might be the most important piece of the puzzle. It explains so much of the confusing advice you see online. As a natural lifter, your ability to recover is finite. It's limited. That's why your #1 driver for growth has to be progressive load, getting stronger. On the flip side, an enhanced lifter has supercharged recovery, which lets them handle and grow from way more volume than a natural lifter could ever dream of. This is why one guru tells you to do 5 sets and another tells you to do 25. They're talking about 2 different worlds. So, let's bring this back to you, the natural lifter. Here's the key takeaway. Seeing the weight on the bar go up, or being able to do more reps with the same weight, that is the absolute best proof you can have that what you're currently doing is working. If you're getting stronger, you're growing. Period. All right, enough with the theory, let's make this real. Now that we understand that load is the proof and volume is the tool, let's build a dead simple playbook you can take to the gym tomorrow to smash through any plateau you're facing.
First, you gotta understand this framework. It's like the Goldilocks principle for lifting. There's MEV, the minimum you need to do just to see some gains. There's MRV, the absolute maximum your body can handle before it starts breaking down. And right in the middle, there's MAV, your sweet spot, where you're making the best possible progress. The goal is to find that sweet spot and live there.
So, how do you know if you're in the sweet spot? Just follow this simple flowchart. Ask yourself one question: am I getting stronger? If the answer is yes, then stop. Don't change a thing. Your training is working. Don't add sets you don't need. But if the answer is no, you ask the next question: am I recovering well? If you are sleeping well, eating enough, and still stalled, that's your green light. That's when you strategically add 1 or 2 hard sets and see what happens.
Okay, let's bring it all home. It's time to do our final rep on this and unify these two ideas. It's time to stop thinking about load versus volume and start thinking about load times volume.
If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this: getting stronger, adding weight or reps, is the proof that your training is working. Volume is the powerful tool you pull out of your toolbox only when that proof disappears. Let me say that again. Strength is the proof, volume is the tool.
The research paper we used for this explainer has this beautiful analogy that I just love. It says to think of increasing weight as a sharp spear. It's your primary weapon, your most direct way to attack the muscle and force it to grow. But when that spear stops working, that's when you deploy the powerful shield pressure of added volume to create a new kind of stress, allowing your spear to become sharp once again.
So the debate is over. The question is no longer which one is better. The real question you should be asking yourself is this: how can you use them both intelligently in your own training? Take a look at your logbook. Are you getting stronger? If not, is it time to deploy that shield? Drop a comment below and let me know how this changes your plan for your next workout.
Hey, if you found this breakdown useful and you want to get more deep dives into the science of building muscle and getting stronger, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.